Incredible. The Cubs make an infuriating roster decision and fans are losing patience with Craig Counsell. But before I tell you this bombshell news, my fellow Cubby, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date with all the latest Cubs news. Chicago Cubs fans, take a deep breath because this is one of those decisions that makes every fan ask, what is going on inside this organization? Just when every game is worth its weight in gold, just when the team needs its best arms to get through the final stretch of the season, and just when the playoff race is getting tighter and tighter, the Cubs have made a move that is already causing a massive wave of outrage among the fanbase. Javier Assad has been sent down to AAA Iowa for the third time this season. The same Javier Assad who, just days ago, came in against the White Sox and completely dominated the opposition, throwing 3 perfect innings. The same pitcher who has been putting together extremely solid numbers and carrying a 3.45 ERA in 2026. The same player who, at several points this season, has looked like one of the most reliable options to help a bullpen that needs to be operating at full strength during this crucial stretch of the schedule. And now, AAA. Again. The explanation given for the move is connected to the need for roster flexibility to activate Daniel Palencia. From an administrative standpoint, there is an explanation. But for many fans, the question goes much deeper. Why does that flexibility have to come at the expense of one of the pitchers who has been delivering consistency? That is the question setting Cubs fans off. Because there is a huge difference between making a roster move that is convenient from a bureaucratic standpoint and making a decision that actually makes sense on the field. Assad wasn't being sent to Iowa because he had completely lost control. He wasn't being removed after a disastrous stretch. Quite the opposite. His recent performances were giving plenty of reasons to believe he could be useful right now, exactly when the schedule is tightening and every win is becoming increasingly valuable. And that's what makes this decision so difficult to swallow. The Cubs are entering the part of the season where there is simply no room for waste. The team needs depth. It needs arms capable of eating innings. It needs reliable options for different situations. It needs to be prepared for a marathon of games in which the bullpen could be tested night after night. So when a player is producing consistently and still ends up being sent down to AAA, it is completely understandable for fans to question the logic behind the decision. And Craig Counsell is inevitably at the center of the discussion. The manager obviously isn't solely responsible for every roster decision. There is a front office, there are roster rules, there are contractual considerations, and there are administrative decisions that have to be taken into account. But for the fan who watches every game, there is a much simpler reality. If a player is performing well, he needs to be available when the team needs him most. And Assad was certainly giving the Cubs reasons to keep him in that conversation. The problem is that this isn't the first time he has found himself in this situation in 2026. This is his 3rd trip to AAA this year, and that makes the whole situation even more frustrating. Imagine the psychological impact on a player who does his job, puts up competitive numbers, delivers a perfect outing against a rival, and then shortly afterwards, receives the news that he has to go back to the minors once again. Now imagine that happening during an important postseason race. It's impossible not to question it. Are the Cubs prioritizing roster flexibility over performance? Because that is exactly the impression that is starting to grow among the fanbase. That doesn't mean activating Daniel Palencia is the wrong decision. Palencia could also play an important role for this team, and his return could provide a significant boost to the bullpen. The problem is the way this particular piece appears to be fitting into the puzzle. If creating room for a player returning from injury means sacrificing a pitcher who has been producing, the obvious question is, was there really no other solution? That's the part that has Cubs fans furious. Because this isn't a team playing through a meaningless season. The Chicago Cubs are heading directly into the final stretch, and every roster decision needs to be made with October in mind. And October doesn't forgive mistakes. A bullpen weakened by what appears to be a small roster decision can become a massive problem a few weeks later. One missing inning. One arm that wasn't available. One lead that slipped away. One crucial game lost. That's how an entire season can change direction. When the race is tight, every detail matters. Having talent isn't enough. You have to put the right talent in the right place at the right time. That's why the decision involving Assad is being met with so much frustration. Fans don't simply want to know whether the move can be justified on paper. They want to know whether it increases or decreases the Cubs' chances of reaching the playoffs. And right now, many fans are looking at this decision and asking, why send Assad to Iowa now? That question isn't going away anytime soon. Because if Assad continues pitching well in AAA while the Cubs' bullpen struggles, the pressure on Counsell and the front office will only grow. And if the team suffers because of a lack of pitching depth, this move could be remembered as a decision that could have been avoided. On the other hand, if Palencia returns at a high level and once again establishes himself as a dominant piece of the bullpen, the organization will have an argument to defend the decision. And that's exactly where the risk lies. The Cubs are gambling. They're gambling that roster flexibility will be more important than keeping Assad immediately available. They're gambling that Palencia can fill the void created by his departure. And they're gambling that this decision won't come back to haunt them during the final stretch. But fans don't want gambling. They want security. They want to see the players who are producing remain on the roster. They want to know that when a close game arrives, the manager will have the best possible weapons available. And when you look at Assad, you see a pitcher with a 3.45 ERA, a recent 3-inning perfect outing against the White Sox, and another trip to AAA during a season that is rapidly approaching its most important stage. It's impossible not to question it. And now I want to hear your honest opinion, Cubs fan. Do you think this decision by Craig Counsell was completely wrong? Or do you agree with the move? Yes or no? It's time for the fans to speak up. Leave your answer down below and join the conversation. And remember, subscribe to the channel because here you'll stay up to date with rumors, negotiations, signings, and all the latest Chicago Cubs news as soon as it happens. And if the decision involving Javier Assad was already enough to leave Cubs fans furious, there is an even bigger reason why this move is being met with so much concern. Yahoo Sports has raised the alarm over the race for the National League Central, and the numbers are showing a reality that no Cubs fan wants to face at this stage of the season. There are only 33 games left. Just 33 games separate the Cubs from the end of the regular season, and as the schedule rapidly disappears, the Milwaukee Brewers have managed to build a 5-game lead at the top of the division. It may look like a deficit that can still be overcome, and mathematically, it absolutely can. But there is one word that makes the situation far more concerning: time. We are not talking about an entire season still being ahead of us. There aren't dozens of series available to recover from a bad stretch. There are just 33 games to turn a deficit into a lead, and to make matters worse, the road ahead for the Cubs is considered the toughest remaining schedule in all of MLB. That combination is the real reason for Cubs fans to sound the alarm. Chicago doesn't just need to play well. They need to play better than Milwaukee during a stretch where every mistake could come at a massive cost. A loss in a series that looked winnable, a lead blown in the late innings, a questionable decision, or even a game lost in extra innings could make a huge difference. Now, every little detail is starting to carry the weight of a championship decision. And that's exactly why the Brewers' advantage is so concerning. Milwaukee doesn't need to look over its shoulder and win every single game. The team doing the chasing is the one that needs to accelerate. The Cubs need to gain ground while facing a much tougher schedule, and that creates an extremely dangerous situation. Even if Chicago maintains a strong winning percentage, Milwaukee could continue to maintain or even extend its advantage if the Brewers get favorable results during their own stretch of games. It's a race against the clock. And the problem doesn't end there. The absence of Dansby Swanson makes the mission even more difficult. We're talking about an important player in the structure of this team, especially at a stage of the season when defensive consistency, roster depth, and the ability to survive tight games can make all the difference. Now, the Cubs need to find answers from within, and there is no room to wait weeks for everything to fall into place. And what about you, Cubs fan? What's your opinion on this bombshell? Do you think the Cubs will be able to stay in the race all the way to the final stretch of the season? Yes or no? Leave your answer in the comments and tell me why you think that way. I love hearing what Cubs fans have to say. And if you want to stay one step ahead of all the biggest Cubs news, make sure you subscribe to the channel.